Hey guys, it's Jess and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to be making Christmas hardtack candy or old-fashioned Christmas candy, old-fashioned Christmas hardtack candy, whatever you know it as. It's basically just flavored hard candy in different flavors and colors. And I don't know about you guys, but I remember my grandmother making this when I was little. It was a big deal to have around. The most common flavors she usually made were like cinnamon, butter rum, cherry, orange, but there's so many flavors. So let's go ahead and get started. If you watched our last video, if you watched our toffee video, it's a very similar process in terms of it's a cooked candy. Like it's a candy that you cook to a certain temperature, and then that's about it, and it's only a couple ingredients. Now, I will say, as a little disclaimer, this is a project, as was the toffee, and I think I forgot to mention this, that you don't want to let the little ones help you with. It can be very, very dangerous. So not only would I recommend not letting them help you, I would recommend having them out of the kitchen altogether, because God forbid if an accident were to happen and this were to spill on them, or they were to touch the candy, because I mean, you know, they're kids, like it's candy, they're gonna want to grab at it or reach for it or whatever. This can cause third-degree burns when it's at its hottest point. So be very careful, and this is an adults only type of product or type of treat. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'll show you guys all the ingredients you need, and then we are gonna whip up a batch of this candy, and then I'll show you guys how cute or pretty and festive it looks in a little bag with a ribbon tied on it that you can give as a gift. And I don't know where you guys are from, but here in Ohio you don't see this stuff around very often anymore. You can find hardtack candy very easily, or ribbon candy, or you know, any kind of like store-bought manufactured candy, but like this old-fashioned homemade hardtack Christmas candy with the powdered sugar on it, you don't see it a lot of places. So now you guys can make your own. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for ingredients, you are going to need 2 cups of white granulated sugar, 1 cup of water, 2/3 cup of white Karo syrup or corn syrup. You will need some food coloring, whatever color you want to make it. I usually obviously try to make the color correlate with the flavor. You'll need some flavoring oil, preferably by Lorann oils. They're kind of the most common or well-known company that makes these flavoring oils for hard candy, and they have so many different flavors. Today I'm going to make a batch of cinnamon. And you'll need a candy thermometer. If you don't have a candy thermometer, you can use a glass of cold water to check to see if the candy is done. If you want to see a little bit more about how to do that, you can watch our last video where I made gourmet toffee, and I used that technique, or I showed you guys that technique, how to check to see if your candy's done. But a candy thermometer is really nice. You can pick these up for like $5 to $10, and you'll know exactly when you're at 300 degrees. All right, guys, let's get busy and whip this batch of candy up. Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning when I was going over the ingredients and utensils you would need, but you also need a metal aluminum pot like this. I think this is aluminum. And you'll need a whisk because you have to stir the candy. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and dump all of the sugar into your pot. So 2 cups of sugar go in there. Then you pour your 1 cup of water, and you can go ahead and turn your burner on to about a medium heat. Now you're going to want to go ahead and add the 2/3 cup white or clear Karo syrup. You'll need a little spatula to get it all out of the bowl. It is very sticky. Now I'm just going to take my whisk and start stirring to try to incorporate all of these ingredients together. Now I'm going to increase the heat on my burner to like medium high, a little bit past the halfway point. You'll need your candy thermometer at the ready, or your glass of cool water to check to see if your candy is done or at the right temperature. And this you don't have to stir quite as much as the toffee. You don't have to stir it constantly. So while I'm letting that heat up, I'm going to go ahead and get my bottle of Lorann flavoring oil ready, and 1 teaspoon, a 1 teaspoon measure to add this oil to the candy. But you don't do that until the very end, after it stops boiling. And I'm also going to go ahead and get my food coloring ready. I'm going to use red since I'm making a cinnamon flavored candy. Actually, I really love this Wilton Color Right set of food coloring. It comes with this color, which is like a cayenne, and it's just kind of like a deeper, darker red, because a lot of times when you add red food coloring to items, it looks pink. So I think this time, just for the heck of it, I'm going to try to use this cayenne and see how that comes out. I feel like that would be closer to a cinnamon color. But you basically just boil it until the mixture reaches 300 degrees, just like the toffee. You also want to have a prepared baking sheet ready before you start cooking the candy, because once it's done, you have to dump it out pretty quickly. So I like to get that ready before I even start. I'm sorry, this color is not cayenne, it's crimson. But yeah, I recommend this particular food coloring set for all of my students that take classes here at the studio. I absolutely love this. You can order it on Amazon. You can pick it up at Michael's. It's a beautiful little set of food coloring to have. It comes with this handy little chart that shows you how to make all these different colors. I love it. My only complaint is I wish they made bigger bottles. And if you run out of a color, you don't have to replace the whole set. You can just replace one bottle. So that's cool too. All right, so we're at about 150 degrees. So we're about halfway there. Just another little quick tip for you guys, or bit of information. I also have this hard candy mold here. This makes beautiful little different shaped gems because hard candy is, you know, kind of shiny. So this is a really cool way to make somewhat realistic looking diamonds or gems, is to make cooked hard candy and pour it in these molds. Another little thing, in case you aren't already aware, when it comes to molds like this, the difference between this and a chocolate mold, or how you know the difference between a candy mold and a chocolate mold, is if the mold is solid white like this and not see-through clear, then that means it's made to withstand the temperature of hot cooked candy. You want to make sure the mold you're using can withstand that kind of heat. So if you see these white ones, you know, at the craft store in the cake decorating aisle or whatever, and you wonder why some are white and some are clear, that is why. These ones can be used for chocolate or hard candy, whereas the clear ones are really only meant to withstand the heat of melted chocolate, because this hard candy, this cooked candy, gets a lot hotter than melted chocolate. The traditional way to make this candy is to just pour it out on a baking sheet and break it into pieces. But if you wanted to get really fancy, you could make these gems with it. They would be really pretty. Or you could even make lollipops. Okay. Oh, she's cooking now. Alright, she is bubbling her little heart out, which is what we want. And we are at about, probably about 215 degrees. So we're getting there, not much longer. I actually turned the camera off for like probably 20 minutes because this was taking a really long time to come up to temperature, probably because I'm working on a little like shady single burner unit here because I don't have a stove top at the studio, but maybe on your home stove. From what I remember, when I made hard candy on my home stove, it didn't take quite as long. I just don't want you guys to think like this only takes a second to make because in the video it's going to look like it only takes a couple minutes, but I've been sitting here for 20 minutes stirring occasionally and checking the temperature. So we're at about 250 finally. We're actually a little over 250. So the hotter it gets and the closer it gets to finishing, the bubbles, like as it's boiling, the bubbles almost start to kind of like slow down and get bigger. It's still bubbling, but they get like slower because the consistency of it is going from a liquid to something more syrupy. So obviously the bubbles can't move as rapidly as they were, so they're kind of like slower now. It's kind of interesting to watch. All right, so we are at 300 degrees. I'm gonna remove my candy thermometer. Again, don't place this in cold water. Let it cool down, it will break. Now, I'm gonna turn the heat off. So see how it's still bubbling? I'm gonna add my color now. I'm gonna start with like 4 drops. When you add stuff to it, see how it bubbles up? That is normal. So I'm happy that I went with the crimson. It's just a nice deeper, almost a cranberry colored red, which I think is nice for a cinnamon flavor. All right, so the boiling has stopped. There's still bubbles, but the boiling has stopped. So now I am going to take my 1 teaspoon of oil flavoring, the cinnamon flavored oil, which I'm pretty sure is almost 1 full bottle. Now, there's a teeny little bit. I'm just gonna probably add the whole bottle. Be very careful when you add the flavoring, because it lets off like a little bit of a poof of smoke. See all that smoke? Just gonna use my whisk to help spread it around a bit. I'm gonna try something out here. Instead of breaking it into pieces, I'm gonna try cutting it with a pizza cutter. So it cools at the edges first. So kind of start around the edges. You can use scissors to cut it. I just have a little bowl here with some powdered sugar, and I have a little small sifter. I'm just gonna throw the candy into the bowl of powdered sugar. That helps cool it down. It also helps to keep the pieces from sticking to each other. Last couple pieces. All right. I'm just gonna take a spoon and kind of get all the pieces coated with powdered sugar. All right. Okay guys, I had planned on doing a really cute mason jar idea for you. And I always just bank on the fact that I have tons of mason jars here at the studio. We have two separate downstairs basements here at the studio, and I do have tons of mason jars. However, I don't have any lids. So unfortunately, I'm just going to be showing you what it looks like in a bag. But that's okay. That's okay. Just imagine with me what it would look like in a mason jar. Alright, so we have our bag nice and full. And now, gotta have that ribbon. Got to have that ribbon, huh? It's nothing without the ribbon. And I chose a green ribbon because I felt like that would contrast nicely with the red cinnamon candy. See how much thought I put into this, guys? All right, so now, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do another knot just to be on the super safe side. Now, we're gonna curl that ribbon right up. Isn't that beautiful? We're just gonna curl her right up. Ooh, that one's like really long. We're gonna cut her a little bit. Got a cute little bag of Christmas hardtack candy. I feel like she needs something else though. I mean, the ribbon's cute, she's cute, but I feel like it's missing something. I just so happen to have these festive gift tags here. There she is. Now she is cute. Alright guys, so I just threw a little cute gift tag on it. You can write who it's to or from, and there are a lot of people who would be very, very happy to get a bag of this during the holidays because it really brings back fond memories from your childhood if your grandmother or mother or whoever used to make this. The first year that we started selling this here at the studio, when people saw it online, it was like, oh my gosh, is that Christmas hardtack candy? So I love the way people react to this particular candy around the holidays. So make up a batch, any flavor you want. I recommend the butter rum. My husband likes cinnamon, so I made him cinnamon. I hate cinnamon candy or cinnamon anything really. I would have preferred butter rum, but I know I'll be making a lot more batches of this the closer it gets to Christmas to sell here at the studio, so I'll get my butter rum eventually. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments down below if you make this, or even if you don't want to make it, let me know if you remember this, or you know, if your grandmother used to make this or whatever, and let me know what your favorite flavor is, because I feel like everyone has a different answer. I would say the most popular probably is the cinnamon, but I had somebody today tell me their favorite was root beer. So let me know your favorite flavor of hardtack Christmas candy in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what other flavors people have tried, because who knows, maybe I'll make that flavor here at the studio. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Whew. Oh, I want this away from me so bad. I don't even like cinnamon. What have I done? Why didn't I make cherry?